Welcome into the third episode of Tuatara Television. Today on the program, we go stateside. We catch up with two of our American imports, two players that were so instrumental in the success of the Tuatara, Josh Morgan and Jonny Hansa, Mr. Kashmir himself, or I think it might have been Josh Colmenter, who coined the nickname, the Caribou Crusher. But Josh Morgan, welcome. And Josh, really the first thing I want to know from you is you've had 4 months back in the United States. What are your memories of your time with the Tuatara?
I just think the team camaraderie, man, like the relationship that I formed with literally every single brother on that team, it was something that I can't even put into words. It was amazing. I think it was probably, if not the closest team the closest knit team that I've ever been a part of. Going to New Zealand, I was very skeptical and a little scared just because you're going to a whole new country. At the beginning, I had no idea how, I didn't understand the accent. I was like, you guys got to talk slower. But it just turned out to be literally one of the best experiences of my life. And I would go back there again in a heartbeat. It was just an amazing culture, amazing team, and obviously a good team as well. So it was so fun, man. And I wouldn't change anything for it.
Josh, you talk a lot about the team culture. How instrumental was Steve Mintz in terms of what we saw over the summer from a performance point of view and in terms of being able to bring that team together so quickly?
He's all about love, man, and all about brotherhood. And so I think the more the season went on, the closer we got as a team, and the more he gelled as a manager and the more we gelled as a team and the closer we got. So I think successful teams have great chemistry, and obviously we have a whole lot of guys coming from different places in the world. But how quickly we gelled and how quickly we came together as a team is 100% a testament of how he managed that team. So 100% don't think that we would have been as successful as we were last season if he wasn't the manager. So he does an amazing job. That's one of my guys in the Rangers organization, man. So we're very close, but yeah, man, he does an amazing job and puts his whole heart into everything that he does. So definitely hats off to him.
Looking back now, what did you make of the standard of the Australian Baseball League? Was it as high as you thought? Was it of a lesser standard?
It was definitely higher. It was higher. Going over there, I didn't really have an expectation. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that baseball in New Zealand and the ABL wasn't maybe up to people said it wasn't as high as certain minor league levels or major league levels. But when I got there and started to play and see some certain, pitchers and the competition, I was like, man, this is a good league. It's a really good league. And you have guys like Delman Young who are on opposing teams, and just got in, a whole bunch of guys that were in the big leagues for multiple years. So it's unbelievable, man. The competition and then the relationships that you get to form over there. So it was the competition was definitely a lot better than I thought.
What about your own performances, Josh? Were you happy with the way you played while you were down here with the Tuatara?
Man, 100%. I started off slow, and it sucks. I don't like to tell myself and admit it to myself, but I start off slow a good amount of, with some of my seasons in the past, and that's what happened in Auckland. And but looking back, I think there's always room to get better, and so I think every single part of my game, every single aspect, whatever it was, fielding, hitting, whatever it was at that given time, I feel like I could always get better at. So looking back, I was happy, but at the same time, I know I can get a lot better. So I'm always pushing forward.
Baseball in New Zealand still very much in its infancy. The Australian Baseball League, an opportunity to develop local talent, also bring the officials through, but also a group of coaches and future managers. And with the Tuatara, we had Dan Tan, we had Johnny Southey and Gus Ledger. Did you have any difficulty showing respect to those New Zealand coaches coming from the United States?
It was easy to respect those guys, man, just because they knew what they were talking about. But it wasn't even that. It was just the brotherhood that they brought and the relationships that they brought. And you almost look at them. I'm very, very, very close to my pops, to my dad here. And you almost look at those guys like a father figure over there because you're not with your family. And just the way that they interacted with us, it was just like another father, a different father figure. And so, I immediately had respect for everyone on the coaching staff.
Okay, I want to bring up a moment. I think it was the first game of the third series. Canberra Cavalry were in town. It was a Thursday night. The team hadn't won a game at that point, and you're thrown out of the game. And then Steve Mintz, the manager, is thrown out of the game. Tell us about that moment. What happened?
The funny part is, man, my parents were there for that, and I don't get angry like that. I'm a very kind of relaxed dude, very chill, no matter what happens. This is going on a tangent. In 2015, I had a bad game in the minor leagues, and I took off my helmet and I threw it, and I broke my finger because my finger got stuck in the ear hole of the helmet. And so ever since then, I've been very relaxed, very calm. Even if plays don't go my way, whatever it is, I've been very, very relaxed and just kind of talk to the umpire instead of like yelling at him and getting thrown out. I've never got thrown out of a game before. And to have my parents there was just like, it was embarrassing. And I know my mom was thinking some different things that I was getting in trouble, on the way home. But I was very out of character. But at the same time, the way that I got thrown out, and Mincy, no matter what, and I was in the wrong. It was a strike. I just wanted to cause a scene because I was so frustrated, and it built up a frustration. But Mincy had my back no matter what. And I think that showed the team that, hey, man, to win this, we have to gel together. And, like I said, Mincy had my back. And after that, we kind of just started to roll. I'm not saying that was a turning point, but I am saying that it built a little fire within us. And so, and to know that Mincy was that close and always had us, that's huge as well. Because playing for a manager that always will take your side, but will call you out when you're wrong as well, but in a respectful way, that's huge. And that's exactly what Mincy did.
You and Jared Walker, that 3-4 punch in the batting order, the relationship with Jared, did you guys know each other before heading to New Zealand?
No, not really. I think we might have followed each other on Instagram, maybe, conversated a little bit before that, a tiny bit. But I knew of him, but I didn't know him. I didn't know him that well at all. And now we're best friends. Like, we talk every single week. He's going to be in my wedding. So it's crazy how going to a different country and gelling like that happened, and God brought us together to be boys, so it's awesome. It's funny. I was just texting him literally before this Zoom call. So, but that's my boy for life now, man. So we'll always be close for sure.
Now, Andrew Mark wants me just to mention Andrew Mark, because Andrew likes me to mention him in the field house. Of course, everybody go to the field house. What did you make of the New Zealand players and the talent there? Because clearly, we're a softballing nation, and baseball is still relatively new, and it's still very much a niche sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the New Zealand guys were a lot better than I originally thought. And like I said before, I didn't really have an expectation of what the talent was going to be like from them or from the league. But, you got Elliott Johnson, and he's the best reliever in the whole league. You got Pink, one of the best hitters in the whole league, guys from New Zealand. So you can't knock the talent, but you definitely can't knock the work ethic because, from what I know, I obviously didn't know them prior to me being on the team, but I know Pink lost a whole lot of weight for, just to be able to be on the team. And what he did to help that team win, like that goes so far. And then, EJ, he's, what he did that whole year, like that's unbelievable. Like the best reliever in the whole league. So, I'm hoping that he, will continue to grow and both of them will continue to grow and get to their destination, man. So they're really good, and it was super cool to have them as, part of the backbone as the team.
Was there a particular moment or a particular game that you felt was a turning point for you, or a moment that stands out perhaps more so than others?
I think the turning point for me was in Brisbane. My first 2 to 3 series were not good at all. So I kind of wanted to get things rolling a little bit sooner than I originally did. But it wasn't a big hit. It wasn't a big, thing that happened in the game. It was just a inside pitch that I got from a lefty, or it might have been a right. I don't even remember who was pitching. I remember we were in Brisbane, and it was a low and inside pitch, and I drove the ball back up the middle, one of the hardest low line drives that I've hit in my career. And I think that was the turning point of me and my kind of my play for the rest of the year. So I think that kind of locked me in, I should say.
I want to talk about one of the most laid-back people I've ever worked with, certainly as a commentator, Josh Colmenter. Played in the major leagues. How much of an influence was he in the success of the team, and did he have an impact on you?
Yeah, he is the backbone of our team, man, and he was the leader, the captain of our team, 100%. Just obviously, he has years in the big leagues, and but it wasn't even that, man. It was just his relationship with us, how calm, and he was a leader by example. And we did, as a team, we did a lot of things off the field that kind of brought us closer, whether it was just going out to eat, going to play pool somewhere, whatever it was. And he kind of led that. And I can't talk. He was one of the best leaders that I've played for. So he's definitely number one on the team, I think, in leadership. So.
Josh, one thing I noticed with you after games, you're always sitting down, you're always writing down in your diary. Was that just analysing your performance, making notes? What's the strategy behind that? Yeah,
so it was me writing down what I saw in different pictures. So, for example, I stayed for 8 weeks. I only saw 2 teams twice. So on those different teams, I would make sure I write in-depth notes on the pictures that I saw, because I knew I was going to see him again. And I wanted to make sure from this, because everyone sees different scouting reports. We got a scouting report. Everyone sees the scouting report differently. So if I wrote the arms that I saw in a way that I understood, I feel like that would best, put me in a position best where I would succeed. So I was just always making notes on different pictures and different ways that if I felt good one day, then I would write down how I felt so I wouldn't forget that. So I think that kind of carried me through that year.
How frustrating is it going back to the United States, having come off an 8-week season where you started to perform really, really well, and then looking to try and keep that momentum going, heading into spring training, only to have COVID-19 come along and sort of put a stop to that and halt that momentum?
Man, it was a little frustrating. I think mentally, I just always have to build off of what I did in New Zealand, because I know what I did in New Zealand. That's the player that I am, and even further than that, I'm better than that in my mind. So I just have to continue to mentally and visually put myself in those situations and just continue to get better. Like I said, I was frustrated with the season kind of coming to a halt. In my mind, I do think that we're going to play at some point this year, whether it be big leagues or minor leagues, whether it just be going to play a couple scrimmages against the team. I'm always going to be ready. So I think that's one thing that I've done a good job and make sure I'm continuing to do is just put myself in those situations of like live at bats and getting ground balls and everything. So just staying ready.
Yeah, the fact that not a lot of baseball is being played. If there was another opportunity to come back, would you take it here in New Zealand over the summer?
Yeah, man, without a doubt. Like I said, I had so much fun there. And like the relationships, obviously I would want to go get some at-bats, get some work in, because that kind of changed in my career, what I did last year. And that kind of, I see myself as a whole new player. But, the relationships were so amazing with Pandy, with Hannah, with everyone there, and all the coaching staff and all the players. That would be one of the main reasons why I go back, is just to hang out with all of them again, and while obviously get my work in, because for me it would be like a business trip vacation. But just the relationships were unbelievable. The people there are just unbelievable. So I would 100% come back.
And of course we would sort of love to have you back. And so what do you have sort of a timeline, or is there a bit of a pathway? I mean, what do you have to do to take that next step and play in the big leagues?
I think just consistency is key for me. Obviously sharpening up all my tools, whether it be accuracy in throwing, strength throwing arm, hitting tool, my power, my consistency with my glove and playing infield. I think they can all get better, no matter what it is. Just because if you want to be in the big leagues, you want to stay in the big leagues, you have to be the best of the best. And so that's what I strive to be. And I think I have to continue to sharpen up every single tool in the shed that I have for my game. So it's not just one thing.
Was baseball, were you always a bit of a super talented kid at baseball? Were you always had a little bit of an X factor coming through the age groups, or is it something that's come a little bit later?
Honestly, man, I just see myself in the past. I've always worked really hard. I don't know if I don't think I've ever really had an edge. I think that just comes from me working hard and me putting myself in certain positions that I could succeed. I definitely devote all my hard work and everything to my parents just because they've taught me how to work hard. And have a good, a work ethic. And so, like I said, I wouldn't give myself an edge on being the most talented because I've never been the most talented anywhere I've been. But I feel like I've always outworked people, and that's kind of where how I've gotten to where I am today. It's just by my work ethic. So I'm going to continue to do that. Obviously, I think one of the best tools in the game is your mental tool, is how you think and your mindset. So I'm continuing to sharpening up that, and if I put them all together, then I think I could 100% be successful at the next level.
You mentioned that Jared Walker was coming to your wedding. You're getting married.
I am getting married. We don't have a date yet, but it is happening with COVID-19 and my fiance's in the Navy, so we're kind of dealing with different times where she might have to go out for 8-9 months at a time. So we're kind of dealing with those two things right now, but we are getting married, hopefully within the next couple of years. So we'll see, man. Don't have a location, don't have a date yet, but it's definitely happening. So I got the ring before I went to New Zealand, and I proposed to her the week after I came back home. So that waiting period of 2.5 months wasn't the easiest thing to do in the world, but it all worked out perfectly. So it was a cool kind of experience.
I understand she was only going to say yes if you came to New Zealand. We're batting 300.
You might think that, but I would hope that she would say yes if I came back with a 220 average. You never know, though. You never know. So I think I got a good one. So we'll see.
Hey, Josh, it's been lovely talking to you. Just a final message for Tuatara fans and for the people of New Zealand out there, because we are in the middle of winter, but it won't be too far away, and hopefully they can open up what we call a Trans-Tasman bubble, and we're going to be back into the ABL.
Yeah, man. I would say continue to be excited about Tuatara baseball because, like I said, it's on the up and coming, man. If it's not already up there to the top, just an amazing fan group, an amazing staff, amazing team with everything going on there. Can definitely look forward to just baseball there, and just continue to be optimistic, man. There's so many different things to look forward to. ABL championship coming in soon. But just so many different things to look forward to, man. And you guys continue to do what you guys are doing because the welcoming that you have given all the American guys is amazing. So continue to do you guys and continue to be a blessing for all of us. So it's been amazing, man. And that stadium was amazing, man. It was amazing. That was a whole different story. But just from what it was, the rugby stadium, to what they turned it into, man, it was one of the best, transformations that I've ever seen. So everything, I have no negative things to say about the country as a whole. So it was an amazing experience.
Josh Morgan, thank you for joining us on the program, and to all Tuatara fans, wouldn't it be great to have Morgan back, Jared Walker back, and my next guest on the program. We're now going to go to Anchorage in Alaska. Jonny Hansa standing by. Let's just give you a little reminder of what a class act Homza was for the Tuatara over the 2019-2020 season.
And all of a sudden you went back to the Arizona Fall League where it was like almost a
Homza with a deep drive, right center field, and deep into the night and gone. Solo home run for the Tuatara catcher brings the deficit for Auckland to just a run. It's now 3-2 with all 5 runs coming around on solo shots.
I'll tell you what, he absolutely crushed that baseball. The ball was down in the zone, but he absolutely annihilated.
Great times indeed for Jonny. Jonny, welcome. First question for you. How big is baseball in Alaska?
It's fairly big. I wouldn't say it's the biggest sport, but the problem we face here is just a short season. The snow melts beginning of April, and it comes back again in late October usually. So we just can't be outside as much. But as far as popularity goes, it's about the same as the other sports. It's just we're kind of limited with the weather.
And in terms of talent, how much baseball talent comes out of Alaska?
There's been more than people realize. I think there's just not as many players up here. I would say the talent pool is just as good, just a smaller sample size. And yeah, like I said, can't play as much as the warmer weather states like California and Texas and stuff. But as far as athletes goes, I think they're about the same up here.
You've been out of New Zealand now for about 4 months. When you look back and reflect on your time here, what are the special moments? What are the memories?
I think that home playoff game, that was fun. That atmosphere, that was really cool. That was my favorite moment.
Did you enjoy your time in New Zealand?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was great.
And from a performance point of view, were you happy with the way you played?
Yeah, I went down there to work on things and just play. And I did that, and we ended up winning our division, which was awesome after a little rocky start. Had a lot of turnover, but it was fun. I think we all the players were on the same page. Just everyone's there for the same reason, just to play and get better and win. And we did those things, so it was a fun season.
And were the Padres reasonably happy with the way you'd played?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I hadn't had the offensive seasons, I'd been wanting to, and so I went down there to New Zealand and really worked on some approach things. And I think I started getting some results the second half, which I'm certainly happy about.
How difficult was it working with different pitcher every game when really you don't have that relationship and everything is always very, very new because it's such a short season?
Yeah, you get that kind of everywhere you play. I think there's a lot of turnover in affiliate ball, so you're always catching new guys, and you get used to it. But also, I think the Tuatara team was fun because we just gelled immediately, and we had to overcome a lot of stuff, of course, with Ryan Costello's passing, which was just tragic. And yeah, I think as a team, we were pretty close, which was cool because we had just met, and now we're all back at our own homes. But so it was a special team.
When you're combining, say, with Josh Colmenter on the mound, a guy who has played in the big leagues for a long time, are you confident in regards to the signs and signals that you're giving him? Or do you sort of second guess yourself a little bit because it's Josh Colmenter?
Yeah, you always try to be confident with your signs, but Josh, very smart pitcher, experience. He knows what he wants to throw, and he'll tell you too. So you talk between innings before the game about your plan, how you want to attack the hitters and stuff. And sometimes you're on different pages, which happens. But he was a fun pitcher to work with because he was so smart and so helpful to me as a young catcher. He's an experienced veteran guy, and yeah, he was able to definitely help me out.
What do you make of baseball in New Zealand?
I mean, I think I can kind of relate to it a little bit. Being from Alaska, it's not the main sport. It's not. I mean, obviously, it's not a popular sport at all in New Zealand, or at least as of recently. And so it's always cool to be a part of something that's growing and picking up speed, and to be a part of it. It was the second season, but we won our division. That was cool to be a part of.
And what did you make of the standard of the Australian Baseball League?
It was about what I expected. I think there's a wide range of talent, which is cool. And there's no the part that stuck out to me the most coming from affiliate ball is there's no moving up or moving down. You're just there. That's your team. That's the league, and that's the championship you want to win. And yeah, just that aspect made it a lot of fun.
Well, Jonny Hansa, thank you for joining us on the program, and good luck. And hopefully you do get some baseball shortly in the United States. We'd love to have you back in New Zealand again for another season. Hope you have enjoyed this edition of This Season. This is Tuatara Television. Now, in all seriousness, if you do live in the Auckland region, Greater Auckland region, do check out Andrew Mark's business, The Fieldhouse, thefieldhouse.co.nz, batting cages, equipment, and of course you can shop online as well. But from me, winter is here. Hopefully baseball is just around the corner. It's been a privilege and a pleasure.